And as long as everybody hits the OK button, we are recording. And welcome to this edition of Forthright. This is providing some a little daylight to an issue on Upriver Drive that's got a lot of neighbors really upset, to be quite honest about it, because you didn't know that there was a dog park planned by the city of Spokane and Parks Department, and they are meeting on Thursday, May 11th, tomorrow, 3:30 p.m. at the Spokane City Council Chambers to vote on a proposal to create a dog park in an area where you have a whole lot of local knowledge about what's been going on there. So Melinda, why don't you go ahead and tell me a little bit about how did this start? How did you and the neighbors first discover that this was planned?
Well, first off, we've been here 39 years, and my neighbor across from this proposed dog park, Jim Carlson, called me here about a week and a half ago, late Thursday night, and said that KXLY had knocked on his door wanting his opinion on a dog park that's going to be put in between us. And he's like, excuse me? And so he called me, and I was just floored, could not sleep that night whatsoever. And so the next day I contacted our other neighbors, and none of us had even a clue that this was coming down the pike at all. They literally did not notify any of the neighbors that are directly affected by this dog park.
And how many people is that you contacted? We're talking about half a dozen?
Probably about, because there's not very many of us back here.
6 or 7.
Probably about 6 or 7.
6 or 7. Okay,
Yeah.
so it wouldn't have been too hard to go around and knock on doors.
Yeah.
No, heavens no.
Okay. So there's a couple of concerns that have been raised, and I know Christy, your mom said that you're a civil engineer, so you approached this from that point of view. And if you could tell me what some of the key concerns were that you see with this proposal that don't seem to have been considered.
Yeah, the park board, in their decision matrix, where they actually score all of the individual pieces of land, they categorize Upriver Park as not needing any traffic improvements, or street improvements, I should say, and they have no proof of that. So yes, it is on a main arterial, but it's also on a busy arterial that's one lane each way. There's no center turn lane. It's on a blind corner. They have no proof that adding extra vehicles and pedestrians is not going to affect traffic. It was proposed that maybe we do a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit. You know, that has not been considered by the park board. There's just been no investigation into any of it, really.
So was there any kind of a environmental impact study? Maybe not a formal EIS, but anything that covers those points?
As far as we are aware, their transparency has been very limited. It's been very disrespectful, their lack of communication. But as far as we're aware, there's been no traffic study. There's been no feasibility study on this area. There's been no environmental study to determine the impacts that this new dog park could have on the aquifer or our private wells that are nearby. And then there's been no investigation into the wildlife habitat impacts either.
Okay, yeah, and this is not in a heavily developed area, which I'm sure made it look attractive as a site, but that means that there's, just because humans aren't living there doesn't mean there isn't somebody using the, or some critter using the land.
And this is the last piece of natural land in District 1. And per their survey, they claim that they want to preserve natural land. And I think Daniel had found some quotes where by 2037, they needed to acquire X amount of new natural lands. So why are they trying to destroy the last little bit that we have left?
Okay, so that all happened, that knock on the door from Peter Choi as he was filming his coverage, that was just like a week and a half ago, I think you said. So at that point, you discovered that there was this proposal that was already, going forward to the park board. What did you all do the next day after you had that sleepless night?
Panic. Literally panic. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't even know how to explain this. We have so much wildlife out here that's just part of who we are out here, and that's what the neighbors enjoy. And We have deer galore. We have an occasional moose. We have bald eagles. We have turkeys. We have raccoons. We even have a fox. And they all, they all live in that area. The fawns, they hide during the day when the moms are out feeding, and they sleep there at night. And it's just kind of devastating that they would go in and totally destroy that and take that all away from them. I mean, it's going to disrupt the wildlife tremendously.
Yeah. So did you all know that was apparently this is city park land. They already owned it. Have they done anything? Is there ever been any kind of improvement there or anything at all?
The only thing they've ever done is the Evergreen Bike Park got a bike trail put in that goes from Camp Sakani to the park behind us up the hill. And so that's the only improvement that's been done in my lifetime. And that, again, was never announced. It just one day there's a guy that showed up in a pickup and he started cutting trail through this field, and then all the bikes showed up. So they certainly don't notify anyone, and they try to do everything backdoor meetings so nobody has an idea and nobody can voice their opinion to try and stop it. So
I did visit the dog park up on the South Hill that Sunday. After church, I went up there, and it's just bare dirt. And I did talk to one of the neighbors up there and asked them how they liked living next door to a dog park. And they both literally said, we hate it. And they were never notified either when it went in.
I looked at
the commotion. I mean, they have people there at 4:30 in the morning, the dog fights, the dust, the dirt, the noise, the traffic.
There was some coverage of people at Underhill Park and in the East Central neighborhood that were objecting to some locations as well. So that was at a public meeting that was advertised. But I understand that you're not. So how many of the neighbors around this piece of city park land are actually in the county, actually not in the city? Is that half of you?
One.
pretty much.
There's one in the city. The rest of
There's
city, yeah.
one. The north side of that park boundary where they're proposing, everyone lives north of that line. So the other 6 or 7 live north.
Okay, so the neighbors are primarily not city residents, and so that's
But we're the closest.
But you're the closest. Well, but that's one of the reasons, besides the political reasons, that were given for the county commissioners, having 5 county commissioners and redistricting, was that they would be better able to represent and cross over those boundaries. So I know that on some of these emails, they have been copied to Amber Waldroff, who is the county commissioner for your area, to seek for her to step into this. The city councilman is Jonathan Bingle. So there's 2 elected officials that need to be paying some attention. I will reach out to both of them. And we'll find out what the result is of the park board, if they decide to push it off to make a decision later to address some of the concerns that you've raised, or if they move ahead. I know I wanted to record this with you today so that you could let people know that there is a park board meeting Thursday, May 11th, 3:30 p.m. at the City Council Chambers. And it's after just a week and a half's notice. Your neighborhood has organized about as effectively as you can to try and get the word out, but that's a pretty tough assignment.
well, they've been doing this for over a year, and we've had literally like 8 days.
Right.
And Upriver Park was never on the list. They have been rejected by several neighborhoods already. And then they decided to move on to Upriver. And so they're trying to shotgun this vote before we can all get our ducks in a row and fight it.
Yeah, I've been looking on the Spokane, the city website today, and I couldn't find Upriver Drive on their lists. It seems to have come up at the last minute. I'll confirm that, but right now that's what it looks like. I also thought it was interesting that they lead off the press release about the draft dog park guidelines was saying that they, after an award-winning master planning process, I want to find out who gave them the award and how you can have an award-winning master planning process that doesn't actually ask the neighbors what's going on. But so those will be some things to follow up on. I'm glad we got this little video together tonight. I will go ahead and push it out. You can share it wherever. Hope there are a lot of people at the park board tomorrow that take an interest, and we'll see what
there
happens.
is a WebEx option as well for a virtual attendance at tomorrow's meeting.
I will put
And
that
we can-
WebEx link in the Substack as well, so that it'll all
Sounds
be
good.
I'll be there. Okay. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
All right.